Welcome to the Future Pulse podcast, where we dive into the world of innovation and technology. My name is Melica, and I'm the founder and director of SkillsTalks, which is a global AI tech recruitment company. Today, I have with me Paddy Hatter, who is the president and COO at Sarah. Pleasure to have you on here.
Great to be here. Thank you.
No worries. Well, tell us about yourself and how you got to where you were today.
Well, thanks for having me here today. So I've been really lucky in being able to do a lot of different roles. So I started out, after grad school as a SE at AT&T, and then kind of quickly was able to get into actually pulled into a customer facing role in selling solutions and working with our account teams. That led to a very quickly an opportunity to go to Europe. But everybody has their sort of transformational opportunities that they're presented, and it's whether you take them or not. And for me, I was, still a baby in the working world, just really pretty early in my career, and had an opportunity to go to Europe and start working with the I was still with AT&T, the AT&T teams there to build more of a solutions presence and really build out that organization. I had only been to Europe once on vacation for 4 days, so it was a real stretch of an opportunity, but it was fantastic. I learned so much, different cultures, how to listen to customers, lessons I still take today. So that was very eye-opening and a great experience. Anyway, from AT&T, I went to Cisco, as many people in the Bay Area have worked for Cisco out here doing sort of the large internal transformation programs within that company in the early 2000s, and then went to cybersecurity as a CIO at McAfee, and after that, the CCO at Palo Alto Network. So I've really done a variety of different things, from services to internal transformations to operations and CIOs. So feel very fortunate. And how I ended up at a early stage company, I sort of got the bug a few years ago of how really getting interested in finding the right startup to get involved in. I was investing with a group of people working with a number of VCs, and I just found it fascinating of how are you sort of shaping an opportunity, seeing an opportunity in the market, and shaping the how you're attacking that, how you're building the product, how you're going to market. So yeah, I went from a variety of much larger companies to jumping into the startup world a couple of years ago.
All right, great. And obviously, you've held quite a few different roles across your career. So, how has sitting on different sides of the table shaped the way you look at how companies adopt new technology?
Yeah, so you always I always like to look at how do you put yourself in the shoes of the people that you're talking to, the
Mm.
people that you're trying to either sell to or influence. And one thing I feel very fortunate about is having been a CIO in my past and sort of understanding the pressures that you know CIOs and CTOs are under in trying to move quickly, making technology decisions, trying to transform their organizations. Y- I see within a lot of teams, it's easy to get bogged down in, hey, this is how we always do it. This is how we do it. It's sometimes hard for people to take a risk. And I think one of the things that, I can bring to the table in the conversations I have with uh, these different folks in those types of roles is, hey, I'm sympathetic to what they're going through, but I have done that myself. And you have to, in making any of the big technology shifts that have happened over the past few years, you really have to start to take a leap of faith, be willing to take risks. Your organization has to see that you're willing to take the risk and give them the freedom to experiment and try different things, and that you're trying that as well. One of the things I see within a lot of the different companies that we're working with at my organization, Opsera, is we see people, looking at AI as, okay, it's just a piece of technology, so we'll throw it out there. We'll throw all different versions of AI code assistants out there and different technologies, and we'll just let people take it up. My experience and what I've seen in doing this myself and then also with our customers is you have to be much more planful. You have to let people know, where are we trying to go? What outcome are we trying to get to? It's not just letting it go and letting people adopt, not adopt, or go in different directions. And with AI, you can really see where the challenges that organizations have, AI can, you know, accelerate s- seeing those gaps, s-
Mm.
as opposed to, it's not just going to automatically fix everything. So, leaders really do have to think about, this isn't just a technology project, and how do you think more holistically about, what are we trying to change? How do you need to change the organization? This gives you a lot of opportunities to really flatten out your teams and move to different roles. It's not really about eliminating. It's about how to make people more effective and get to the outcomes faster. But it's thinking about things more holistically and systemically, as opposed to, hey, this is just a technology play. We'll send out the piece of new AI tooling and let it roll.
Right. Okay. And yeah, again, what are the signals then? So can you sort of tell which companies are sort of going to move fast, which ones are going to get stuck based on that then when it comes to AI?
Yeah, a couple of the signals are, if you see the leaders talking about it and driving it from the top, like any big change program, that's always a good sign. And they're very involved, they're very engaged, they're looking at the outcomes, they're measuring what's happening, and the changes that their teams are getting. That's like the first sign that you can tell of, what's the senior team, how are they engaged, and how are they really using those tools themselves. If that's not there, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle.
Right. So when you meet an exec team for the first time, then what's the sort of the dynamic uh, between them and you about whether they'll actually sort of like pull things like that off when it comes to sort of getting AI in their organization?
You can tell sort of based on what level people are reaching out. um, the level of engagement that they have from their leaders. Because if it's the lower level teams that are trying to push this forward, it's like any change. It's much harder for them if they're not getting support higher higher within their organization. So,
Mm.
you can read that dynamic pretty quickly in
And where does it
talking to
sort of
folks.
typically break down in terms of when they actually sort of when they want that sort of change?
Um, well, it's they might want it, but how do you get yourself organized to drive
Yeah.
it? Maybe is a way to look at it. You can't delegate that all the way down within your organization and hope that um, just the individual contributors in your team are somehow going to make this all happen. Um, like I said, with any change, the leaders have to really, lean into it
Mm,
and encourage their team, keep talking about it, and really importantly, measuring the results of
yeah, definitely.
what are they really trying to get to, and that's a pivot that you see people really working through a lot right now of, how do we measure this? Is it, just a productivity play? Is it a a headcount reduction play? But I think you have to look at how are you changing everything? How do you, make sure your organization's lining up correctly? What
Hmm.
structural changes do you have to make to your organization to keep things moving, keep things experimenting, letting the team take risks and move forward? There's a lot of retooling of skill sets, and my experience is people need to see that the leaders are willing to make those changes themselves for them to feel comfortable of, hey, I've got to lean into this and make that change also. It's the whole cycle. It's never just the technology, but it's your strategy. It's your organization design. It's what are you measuring? What processes you have what processes you have in place. It's the whole thing.
Yeah. And would you say since you've come into it, Sarah, then would you say there's, been some kind of like working process in kind of getting things in place? And have you sort of been heavily involved in that?
Yeah, within our own company, I mean, we feel the change within our organization
Mm,
all the time. I would say within our company, first, it's absolutely the product team that's been our product and engineering teams, which have been driving the innovation of, within our products and using AI. And a lot of our products are what our customers use to measure the productivity and impact and what they're seeing from their AI code assistants with our unified, we're in the DevOps orchestration place space, and with our unified insights, that's been a real play for our customers to use the Opsera products to be that single pane of glass within their engineering teams of all the different AI code assistants that they're using. What's really the impact? Where are the bottlenecks? Um, what's happening from a productivity, quality, speed perspective? So we've been leaning into that 2+ year. Way more than 2+ years at this point, but you see the innovation driving on our products, where we have a new product, super exciting, that we're just launching, that really is a you can think of it as natural language for product managers, developers, engineering teams to use to work through the whole concept requirements, how to
mhm,
work through what am I trying to build in a new application. Natural language, it's a iterative process, but you can do that with a much more, well, with one person if you wanted to. So through the spec driven, say that 5 times fast, development process, automatically then building out the architecture and requirements, and then onto the, developing the code using whatever AI code assistant you want to use, and then out through the deployment cycle. So it's that full concept to cloud process in a way that really sort of transforms the number of different skill sets you need in that process. It really condenses that and speeds, from an outcome perspective, really speeds up what companies are able to do. So we're trying to drive the innovation of how we're using the tooling and making that available for our customers, But then within our own company, we're leaning in much more also on the go-to-market side of how do we really be more effective of leveraging AI tools, not just on our product side, but also on the go-to-market side.
Right. So, I mean, if you could give sort of one piece of advice to a leader who sort of knows that they need to move faster, but can't seem to sort of get their organization behind it, what would it be?
Yeah, I would say think about like we were talking about, think about the bigger picture. You need to make a systemic change, like a everything,
Mm,
organization, skill sets people have, how you're driving your team forward. What are you strategically, what are you trying to measure? What are the outcomes that you're trying to get? So it's that s- whole piece, not just as a technology, but how do you really transform all the levers that you have, the people, the skill sets, the process, the strategy that you have, what you're trying to measure, and using the technology to enable that.
mm.
It's the whole picture. So think about it more holistically as opposed to um, either a piece of technology or in a very siloed way, or just thinking about headcount reduction. That skill sets will definitely shift. What people need to do will definitely shift. But I would say just looking at the whole picture is going to help people drive a more significant change for the organization.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast, Taddy. Thank you so much.
Great to talk to you.
Thank you.